The curve has shifted. That's awesome. This is outstanding. I mean, here we have 473 individuals who voted. 4 of you said you don't have, but you know what? That's a really good indicator of the kind and quality of leadership that's sitting in this room today. You've got great leaders who are committed. And so if you're committed, then the question becomes how? What do you need in order to make some of those things happen that you are committed to? We're just going to scratch the surface today. But I want to scratch that surface and create an itch that you want to begin to develop more with the leadership in your education programs, content groups. You're going to hear more and more about the importance of these things. So the infrastructure, as I'm going to call it, begins with leadership commitment. You have it. And so then do you have goals, a credo, supportive policies, a code of conduct, an honor code, whatever you want to call it? There are several elements of it. We have pillar goals too, and our central one is quality, and we circle and are very proud and sometimes challenged to achieve those goals. We have this very non-Shakespearean kind of credo that is basically golden rule stuff. Treat others as you'd want to be treated and how they prefer to be treated. You do all these things. So my question for you is, do you have a credo, goals, policies that deal with professionalism and these behaviors? Number 1 is, yeah, I've read and I agree with ours. Number 2 is, yes, I've read, but you know, I've got some reservations about our particular policy or code. Number 3 is, I think we got them, but I haven't read them. Number 4 is, yeah, I've read them, but I don't ever seem to remember how to apply that policy when it really is time. Number 4 is flat out no, and number 6 is other. Please pick up your clicker and vote. I'm impressed. More than half say you've read them, you know them, and you get it. 20% of you are honest enough, so that's about 100 of you, are willing to say, I have some reservations about ours. That's good. We make sure that we review ours every 3 to 4 years because we learned some things along the way that need to be adjusted. If you have concerns about the professionalism, honor code, or whatever you call it, you know you've got one and you've got reservations, make sure you begin to surface those when your leader rounds on you. Let them know. Let's see, 3%, so the 15 of you who voted no, we don't have them, maybe ask your leader to point them out to you if you've really got them. And for all I know, you 15 may be the ones who are correct. So what is the code of conduct? And what's in it that you can use to reinforce when you come to me and say, Jim, this just doesn't seem to be consistent with the professional I know you to be. Policies just aren't going to work, though. So you have policies, but if things go unobserved, unreported, undealt with, why bother, right? So surveillance tools include risk event reporting systems. You have wonderful patient advocates in your facilities. The patient experience movement is here to stay and with us, and you have a tremendous resource in those patient advocates to turn to who can record what it is that's making patients and families less than fully satisfied, less than enthusiastic about the care they receive. There are all kinds of compliance hotlines and affirmative action, disability services, equal opportunity hotlines. They're there for a reason. Speak up. So the risk event example is Dr. Pichert yelled at me in front of patient coworkers, said I didn't provide the information needed for this visit. You know, it was there. And now this patient with chronic complications is questioning the quality of our care. The patient relations advocate recorded this patient concerned. I asked Dr. Pichert to explain the plan. Pichert said, well, I drew a picture. If you don't get it, you just don't get it. Do these things happen? Just in Tennessee, I'm sure. I'm sorry, just in another state. But you know, when it comes to getting back to this business of hand hygiene, I know you're getting worn out about hand hygiene. Why? It's because it's important, and it's because it's a story that a little bit later on I'll share that we've dealt with it using some of these principles, techniques, and tools that I'm sharing with you. So our medical center medical board endorsed a variety of measurement guidelines that resulted in monthly scorecards that got shared. We're also taking very seriously staff concerns, not just patient complaints, not just the stuff that would go into HCAPS, but our staff are now reporting the staff are reporting their concerns with some of the physician behavior that they see. And we started, and it began with a trickle, and then we began to do two things. Number one, we began to say, thank you for making this report. Thank you. And then we began training physician colleagues who would follow up on these reports and have a conversation with Dr. Pichert, whose behavior or performance was expressed as a concern. And so the word got out that we were doing something about it, and the trend line on the number of reports per month has just increased dramatically. But what this graph shows you is that out of 2,800 active practice physicians at Vanderbilt University Medical Center, 27 of them, 1%, had more than 3 reports of this unprofessional conduct. And there was one person at the top there who just had a disproportionate number of these reports. And you know what? Till we did this pilot study, we had no idea that that person stood out. We had no idea that this 1% accounted for 68% of all the professionalism reports. Can you imagine? If that were you, wouldn't you want to know? Most of you are saying yes. Wouldn't you want to know? So let me ask you, Einstein has tools to capture unnecessary variation in behavior and performance. Strongly agree to strongly disagree? I know you work in different areas. The Studer LEM is going to begin to provide some tools for capturing unnecessary variation. You have a variety of clinical measures and outcome measures. Maybe in your particular area, you're not sure, and that's okay. The question is, if you did have a problem, how would the leaders know about it? And would they have some sort of evidence, even just stories, to take to Dr. Pichert when Dr. Pichert's behavior or performance is some cause for concern? Where are the eyes and the ears, and how is that getting documented? Those are the things that I'd ask you to take up. But here's the question that I've got to ask because of one of the comments that you made earlier. And that is, our team members in your area trust that the organization is actually going to act to address these unnecessary variations in behavior and performance. Do the team members trust?